So good morning to all of you. Welcome to this live webinar. I'm very glad to be virtually with you today, sharing tips and a vision for you to know, to get some ideas how to transition from the academic world to the industry. It's a first for me. Normally I give that kind of talk live, so I see who is in front of me, but with what's going on right now worldwide, we have no choice but being virtual. So first of all, I hope all of you are okay and safe. I want to thank all the universities that invited Kelly to present today. And before I start the talk, I just want to let you know that you have the possibility to ask your questions. Normally, you should be able to see a chat box, so you can just enter your name or not, up to you, and write it, type it. We do have a moderator with us today, so I will take the time at the end of the talk to answer all of the questions, or most of them, depending how much you want to know more. So this being said, today, like I said, is about transitioning from the academic world to the industry. How? This is what I'm going to answer. So probably most of you are doing their PhD in science right now, or starting, ending their PhDs. Maybe some of you are under their postdocs. And maybe you know that you want to continue in your research. Maybe you are thinking that you would like to see what's up beside academia, but you don't really know where to start. You don't know what you could like. Well, you might have a lot of questions. So if that's the questions that you have in mind right now, then you are at the perfect place. I want to say that we were two to prepare this talk today. Mouna from Kelly Belgium and myself from Kelly Europe. Before I'm sharing my screen with you so you can see my slide, I'll introduce myself. So I'm Emmanuelle Hoarau. I'm the project manager for Kelly for the Life Science division in Europe. And to be really honest with you, I've also transitioned from the academic world to the industry 5 years ago now. So I know what you might be going through right now. I know what it's like to be doing your PhD and not knowing what's coming next. So yeah, let's start. Today I'll show you how important it is to know yourself, to be able to decide what you want in your career, to be able to decide what should come next for you, to give you some tips for what's coming next. So first of all, a few words about the company where I work, Kelly. So maybe you know us, maybe you don't. Basically, we are an American staffing company, so our job is to find the best talent for our clients. So it means that every day we recruit the best talent for our clients. And at our core, there is the life science business. It means that everywhere in the world, we are working with the top 90 of the top 20 international life science company. It can be pharmaceutical industry, it can be med devices industry, chemical, cosmetics, food industry. Everywhere there is science, there is Kelly. And moreover, in Europe, for more than 20 years now, we do have a science division where we focus on the recruitment of scientists from bachelor to PhD level. We do recruit scientists specifically, again, for a broad kind of sector, like I said before, chemical, med devices, pharma, biotech, any clients that we are working with and that do have a project in science recruitment. Our biggest asset is that all our consultants working in the science division comes from the scientific world, either because they have a degree in science, again, from bachelor to PhD, either because they used to work in the scientific industry. So basically, we know what we are talking about. We are experts in science for our customer, but also for our talent. We know what it's like to work in science. We understand the issue, we understand the challenge, and that's I would say one of our biggest assets. Like I said, we are present in Europe, but we are present all over in the world in more than 40 countries. So from the United States of America to Japan, and from Russia to Portugal, there is a big chance that you find a Kelly office. This being said, let's go back to the talk of today, which is transitioning from academia to the industry. Here is a sneak peek of what would be our key topics for the talk. So to be able to find the career that will fit you, you need to know who you are, basically your personality traits, what are your strengths, what are your skills. You need to be able to speak about your PhD, because trust me, having a PhD on the job market right now, it's a huge asset. So I really want to take the time to speak about this. I will also give you an overview of the current scientific market for scientists in Belgium right now, and give you some ideas of positions that are mostly sought after right now on the market. So let's start. So, like I said, if you know who you are, then it's easier to decide what would you like in the future for your career. For this, you probably know that there are a lot of personality tests on the market. Many exist, like Myers-Briggs or like MBTI or Gallup. You can find them basically quite easy on the internet, and you just need to Google it, and you will be able to take some of those tests for free. You can either decide to dig in a little deeper and to meet a certified coach if you want to have some follow-up. So, but why am I saying this? Because today I'm going to use a very simplified version of what is called the DISC profile to show you that according to your personality, there are some job match. But don't worry, I'm gonna explain. So if you look for a job, it's important to know if it will fit the way you are, if it will fit the way you behave, because if it's a match, I'm a bit speaking like if we were on Tinder, but really if it's a match, then you will perform best, you will feel good, you will enjoy, and then you will be able to grow into your career and enjoy it, because we spend enough time at work. So if we don't like it, it's probably not the best idea. So yeah, going back to this profile, you will be able to take the time to make some research on the internet after the talk. But just to give you an idea, research has shown that there are 4 categories of people. Each category is represented by a letter, and before I'm going to speak about each category, I just want to make clear that there is no good and no bad category. It's not a judgment, it's just factual things that has came up doing research. So the first category is the D, the red one, that we call dominant. So this category of people, they are very direct, they like to take the lead, they are very task-oriented, and they have high expectation from the people they are working with. Sometimes they can be perceived as a bit domineering, a bit emotionless, but they are very strong drivers, and they are able to make projects move fast forward. to give you an idea, if, for example, you recognize yourself in this category, the type of job that could fit you is project manager, or starting your own company, be a startupper, or having a high management role. This is just ideas. This list is really not exhaustive. It's just to give you example. Then another category is I, the yellow one, for influential. So those type of people, they are very positive. They like to be in the company of others. They like to be in center of attention, and they really need to show who they are. They are not really a listener. They are talker, you know, and probably sometimes they can be seen as a bit impulsive and a bit irritating. Again, for this category, I'm just giving you example of jobs that could match. So everything that is related to sales, marketing, a product specialist, a key account manager. Like I said before, those people like to talk. So any jobs related to communication would probably fit. Then the third category, the green one, S, for steady. So those people, they like when everything is stable. They like to work in team, but they like when everything is stable. They are supportive. They are not the best talker, but they like to listen. They get along very well, by the way, with the influential people. They are loyal, but they don't really like to take risks. They can be seen sometimes as a bit slow and a bit sensitive. So again, just to give you an idea, the type of position that could match this profile is the medical writer, medical science liaison, and grant officer. And finally, the last group, C, the blue, for compliant. So this group, the people belonging to this group can be perceived sometimes as a bit calculating and condescending, but in fact they are just very serious. Like the steady one, they like everything that is stable. They need to be in control. They need to have all data in mind before starting a project. They are very disciplined, and once they've taken a decision, they stick to it. So again, for this group, some example of job that could match, it's everything that is related to the regulatory affairs, or the quality insurance, quality control, and validation. But like I said, because they like to get into details, they like to be factual, any job that is related to this would fit. So why am I showing you this? Just to give you an idea. Maybe after our talk, you will probably go online, check on Google to see if you can take those type of tests, see where you fit, and it can already give you an idea of the job you could like. And again, I really want to emphasize the fact that there is no bad or good category. And it happens sometimes that maybe you will fit in one, or you will fit in two, or maybe you will have a little bit of three of them. It's really just to let you start thinking, and probably to give you some ideas of where you could land once you've decided to leave the academic world. So now that we've been speaking about your personality traits, something else that you need to have in mind when you are looking for a job outside of the academia, it's all the skills that you got. And I will show you that there are three types of skills: hard skills, soft skills, and math skills. So the first category of skills, it's all the things that you learn, that you earn, that you gained during your work experience. And by work experience, I know that most of you are PhD students or postdoc. It's what you learned during your PhD, what you learned during your postdoc, what you've learned also during your internship. So again, I'm giving you some example, but the list is really not exhaustive. It's all the technical skills that you have. I know you are doing science, so Western blot, doing a PCR, cell culture, all those technical skills that you learn and that you master now, they are hard skills. Also, for example, speaking a foreign language is also a hard skill. Being able to use some specific softwares on computers, it's a hard skill. Writing articles, writing grants, it's hard skills. And the list can be a lot longer, and again, it's just example. Then comes the soft skills. So they are really related to your personality traits. It's actually the way that you work. They can be called also the behavioral skills. So maybe you are an agile person. Maybe you've been showing that you had leadership when you were starting a project. Maybe you are a problem solver. Maybe you are resilient. And to be honest, I would not be surprised that most of you have all those soft skills, because when you do a PhD, you basically need all of them. And finally, the last category, which is quite trendy right now in the HR world, it's the math skills. And it's quite easy. It's the extreme version of your soft skills. It's very trendy because you might probably know that more and more startups are very trendy. Many people start startups, and it has been shown doing research that the startuppers, they have this extreme version of the soft skills, innovative, leadership, resilient. That's how to start your own business, how to build a company, and it's very much appreciated into the industrial world. Just for you to know. So anyway, you will have the presentation afterward. It's being recorded. I think you know, so you will be able to take the time to go again through the slides and to get this example if you need. So we've been talking about your personality traits. We've been talking about your skills. Another things that I really would like to emphasize, it's your PhD, because yeah, right now you are doing science, you are doing research, you are probably spending your full time in the lab, thinking about experiment, thinking about cell culture, mice, and yeah, your whole world right now, it's science. But I really want you to know that a PhD is much more than that. You are gaining a huge amount of skills. Some, I'm sure you know them, like I wrote on the left side. Of course, you have a lot of technical skills, no doubt. But beside that, you are someone that knows how to communicate. You probably spend a lot of time writing grants, writing your articles, even making some oral presentation in front of your peers, or even when a friend is asking you, oh, what's the subject of your PhD, you are able to speak about it. So you are able to communicate about what you do. That's a huge asset, trust me. Beside that, you are constantly innovating because sometimes experiments don't work the way you were expect them to work out, and you need to find another way. So you are someone that has innovation skills. Obviously, doing a PhD, doing a postdoc, you are managing a full project from A to Z. So project management has absolutely no secret for you. And beside that, maybe during your work experience in your PhD or in your postdoc, you had the opportunity to coach, tutor people. It might be younger students, it might be a technician or an engineer. Maybe you are teaching the way to design an experiment. Maybe you are teaching how to perform an experiment. So all this all these skills, you have to keep that in mind for the day where you will have to sell your PhD experience. This is really important. And what's even more important, it's the things that I wrote on the right side. Because thanks to your PhD, and maybe you don't see it that way for the moment, but trust me, it's more than true. Thanks to your PhD, to your research experience, you are someone critical. You are able to solve very complex issue. You are able to find innovative solution. You are someone that is able to learn so fast. Basically, you are able to build constantly very strong strategy to prove your hypothesis. And think about all this time where you started an experiment and it didn't work out, and you had to start again everything from scratch. But in the end, you made things work, and that's probably the things that the industry wants the most, people that are able to make things work. So again, this is an example and what I've learned from my personal experience, but also what I've learned from my former PhD colleagues. Keep that in mind the day where you will need to be able to speak about your experience. And doing a PhD, it's not only writing a thesis and doing experiments, it's much more than that. So keep that in mind. Think about all those times where you crossed the line, you went beyond your limits, and you made things work. So this being said, like I said at the beginning of the talk, this is an overview of the current Belgian market. If we go back to the world of work, so as a scientist, you will have two possibilities of contract if you enter the industrial world. The first one is the independent contractor. So basically, you will be hired as a consultant by a consulting group, and then you will go work on different types of mission for the clients of the consulting group. So it's good to gain experience. It's good to discover how things work in the private sector. It will also allow you to see different type of company, small, medium size, international group. Maybe it will give you an access also to different industrial sector, chemical, food, pharma. But going back to what I was saying at the beginning regarding your personality traits, keep in mind that, for example, a very steady person who probably likes to work all the time in the same environment, well, being an independent contractor probably would not be the best option. Then you have the permanent position. I guess you are all quite familiar with this one. You are hired by a company, you stay in the company, and then either you evolve. Well, I guess you all know about this. The second point here is, and because I think it can be interesting for you, it's a non-exhaustive list, again, of the most sought after profiles in the Belgian job market. And to be really honest with you, you can consider that worldwide, this type of profile are really, really sought after. So any job that is related to quality, to reg affair, any expert roles, field service engineers, technical sales, medical scientific sales, and any job related to clinical research. Here I wrote project manager, but any job that is related to clinical research. So that's just for you really to get an overview, and maybe to give you some ideas if you don't know yet what is out there. So to sum up what we've been discussing today, if you really want to be able to shape your career after your PhD life, if you want to go outside the academic world, you need a few steps before reaching what would fit you best. First, you need to know yourself, your personality traits. You can take a questionnaire, you can meet a certified coach, whatever. You can even just think about yourself to be able to describe who you really are. Then your skills, think about all your experience, what you've learned, how you behave, how you behave when you work. Identify everything and learn to be able to speak about yourself. Then keep in mind that your PhD is a huge asset. I would never say that enough, but it is really. Learn how to speak about your PhD. And by saying this, I mean, beside research, learn how to sell your PhD experience. Get some information on the job that you think you would like. Google is your best friend. Former colleagues, probably. Obviously, Kelly can help. Try to connect with the people you think have a job that you could like. Do some networking. Go out. Sometimes think about leaving the lab a bit. Meet the people, go to after work, go to former PhD associations, talk to them, learn from them. And once you've been doing all those steps, then start to build your pitch. Learn, rehearse. It is very important, especially for people like us, I'm going to say, to be able to speak about what we did, because the academic world is so far from what's going on in the industry that you need to be able yourself to create bonds between your PhD and your potential future jobs. So keep that in mind. Anyway, you will get the slides, you will get an access to this webinar afterwards. So really take the time to go through between all those steps, think about it, and try to build your own pitch. So before we go to the Q&A, I just want to tell you, like I said at the beginning of the talk, Kelly is present globally, and that's our job, to match the best talent to our customer. We can definitely help you. We can definitely advise you. And we are present in Belgium, in Brussels. Here you have the contact of our two recruitment consultants. So mouna.guerfal, who also has a PhD. So she's probably the one you want to talk to. And cindy.colombo, who has an experience from the biotech world. So if you are curious about this, you really also need to speak to her. So here you have their email address. Do not hesitate to reach out. Do not hesitate to connect with them on LinkedIn. I also want to tell you that today and today only, you are able to visit our virtual booth, which is on the north wing, if I'm correct. You can, of course, follow Kelly on LinkedIn. You can visit our webpage. There you will be able to get all the contact again, all the phone numbers and email address, but you will also be able to see the current job that we have right now. And of course, I didn't put my name, but again, you can contact me via LinkedIn, via mail. I'll be always happy to answer your question. And speaking about question, I think now we have a little time for Q&A. So I'm going to the chat box to see what you were asking. So where can we find the recorded video? You will be able to find it at our virtual booth, like I said, which is in the north wing under the icon webinar, if I'm right. So just a minute, I'm receiving the question. How important is your background in industry? I have a background in cognitive psychology and usually don't recognize myself in the required background on vacancies. Thank you, Tabitha, for your question. I would say it's quite normal, mostly, and unfortunately in Europe, it's very hard to, as a PhD, to recognize yourself into a job description. I would say the first things would be probably to connect with the people who has a job that match what you would like and talk to them. I'm going to be really honest with you, but as a PhD, I would say the network is much more important than lots of application online. And in parallel, connect with a recruitment consultant. I mean, that's their job to understand truly who you are and to be able to make the link between you, your skills, your personality to the perfect job. So so just connect with Kelly in Belgium. Would you advise a PhD to take up volunteering positions? Thank you, Samuel, for your question. I'm not sure I understand what you mean, but having volunteering position while you are doing your PhD is something that you can definitely do. It will always show that that you have soft skills, that you are able to do something big, which is a PhD, and in the same time giving your time to lead other projects. So yeah, I'll definitely advise, for sure. Do you have useful links for testing our personal profile? Right now, no, but I'll advise you to reach out to mouna.guerfal. Remember the PhD recruitment consultant that is working at Kelly Belgium. Just reach out to her. She will be the best person to give you links and to answer your question. I would love to work in Africa. What do you advise? Thank you, Emmanuelle, for the question. I would advise go for it. Well, probably right now with this unfortunate corona crisis, moving is not as easy as it used to be. But if that's really your dream, go for it. I would advise to connect to some associations. I know that in Africa, the world of work and the world of a former PhD is really moving since the last few years. So you will be able to find a lot of groups, even on LinkedIn, on young startups, on even big international group that has needs in Africa. Just like I said, connect, talk with the people, build your own network. Yeah, and get into association. So I'm still going through the question. Yeah, for the video, I'm saying again, it will be on our booth, which is in the North Wing. Is the scientific education still worth it, or is it better to choose IT direction? A bit abstract, but it is about the future of science. Do you believe in vocation? Very interesting question, Lily. Scientific education still worth it because beside the knowledge of science, thinking like a scientist gives you a very specific mindset that I believe, sorry for the IT people that are probably with us, that IT don't give you. If you really want to do IT, you can still do it after a scientific education, and the two will match for sure. So, yeah, I'm a science fan, so I would say definitely the scientific education is still worth it. Can you describe the difference between contacting recruiters versus internal HR in a company? Very nice question. Thank you, RP. The thing is, most of the time, internal HR in a company, they are not dedicated only to recruitment. They have a lot of other subjects to take care of, whereas recruiters, that's their job to recruit people. So, and probably if you are contacting a recruiter from a staffing agency, they have all the contacts of HR of the company that you are interested in. So I would say go for the recruiter first, talk to them. Maybe they will be even able to give you some tips about the company. And you have to know that a recruitment consultant is really, really close to its clients. So he will know about the atmosphere of the company. He will know about the environment of the company. So sometimes it's also good to meet them and to tell them, oh, my dream is to work for company X. And probably the consultant can tell you, yeah, but in the company X, the atmosphere is awful. You should really not go and work there. That's why, again, I would say go for the recruiter first, ask question, and in parallel, ask question to your network. Build your network first, of course. So you think the personality is very important, but it is hard to identify ourselves in an objective way, correct? Thank you for the question, Xiu Jiao. I hope I'm saying your name right. Right, it's very hard to be able to identify ourselves in an objective way. But I'm sure you have a family. I'm sure you have some good friends, your colleagues also. You can just ask them. My suggestion would be just to go on Google and Googleize some personality tests. You can find the DISC one for free online, and just take it. You will see it's answering question. It will give you already a good idea. What you could do also is sharing the questionnaire with one of your friends or one of your family member and ask him to fill the questionnaire for you. That will give you how people see you, and then you can compare with how you see yourself. That can help a lot. Hi, Emmanuelle, well said about the job adverts. I'm very often discouraged by the amount of requirement the company expects from the candidate. Would you advise to apply even if I felt that I did not tick all boxes? Thank you, Alexandra, for the question. This is, yeah, unfortunately something very true. You will see that most of the company are always requiring 10 years of experience, million different type of skills. Apply, go for it. Well, even if you don't tick all the boxes, if you tick most of them, and if you really want this job, go for it. You know, sometimes the company, they have a dream candidate in mind, but this candidate does not match. And maybe you think that you don't tick all the boxes, but actually you do. So I would say, yeah, just go for it. So I think I've answered most of your question. Thank you so much for your reaction. I really hope that you have enjoyed the talk today. I hope I was able to give you some tips, some visions to find what's next for you. Speaking about what's next, keep in mind that it's our credo at Kelly. So reach out to us, connect with us on LinkedIn, through mail. Really do not hesitate to come. We'll always be happy to answer your question and to help the most we can. So I think it's all good for me. I will thank again the universities that invited Kelly today. I remind you that this webinar will be available, I would say, soon enough in our booth in the North Wing under the icon webinar. So thank you so much for attending today. Thank you for your question. I hope that I was able to help in a way. Remember to be proud of who you are and be proud that you are doing a PhD. I've been there. I know it's tough, but a bright future is coming. I'm definitely sure of this. Thank you. Bye-bye.